Hello and welcome to the Dream Team Professor podcast. My name is Scott, and in this episode, we're looking at all the top point scorers and key talking points from Gameweek 10 Sun Dream Team so far. Now, I'm going to be going through the match centre from ffstuff.co.uk. You can go there, have a look at all this information for free. I've just taken some bullet points on everyone that scored points or anything that might have been an interest from these games. So I'm going to start off with Bournemouth versus Manchester City. So 2-1 win for Bournemouth. Team news beforehand. So we'd seen earlier in the week that Pep Guardiola sort of said, we just can't rest Rico Lewis. He's the one player that we can't drop. I'm paraphrasing, but of course he went on to drop Rico Lewis in this game. So Kyle Walker started ahead of Rico Lewis here. Vardiol was fine after he had a sort of injury doubt after the last match, but Stones and Diaz were both out, and he said that they'll be out for a bit of time. So we can assume that Stones and Diaz might be out a little bit longer. He had Nathan Ake starting at centre-back. Savinho made the bench. He was someone that was a doubt going into the game. And then surprise inclusions from Kevin De Bruyne and Doku in the bench, although Kevin De Bruyne didn't come on, but Doku did later in the game. So you had an early goal from Semenyo. City having a bit of a habit of conceding these early goals lately, or in general. And so 15 points for Semenyo, 3 bonus points, 2 shots on target, tackles, and a big chance created. So massive haul from Semenyo. 4th goal of the season as well for him. And then Evan Nilsson was the guy that made it 2-0. So Evan Nilsson came away with 10 points in this one. But again, can't imagine that he's too highly owned. You had 2 assists for Kirkes at the back, so 11 points. And Tavernier also hit the post, so could have made it 3-0 at one point. But then Vardiol came back, scored a header. So if you had taken him out because of the injury doubts, he'd have been really annoyed at that. But he came and scored his 3rd goal of the season now, doing really, really well for attacking returns. It was a Gundogan cross, so he got the assist for that one. Yeah, just hope I hope not many people removed Vardiol in this match. So he came with 10 points, 7 ppm, which was real close to hitting the 3 bonus points, but just the 1 in the end. He got some tackle points as well as the shot on target. Match of the day actually said 6 goals in Manchester City's last 8 Premier League away games for Vardiol as well, which is pretty mental for a defender. Gundogan 6 points with that assist. Matthias Nunes was a popular transfer in this week, so 4 points for him, 5 tackles. I think you'd probably have been expecting more when you brought him in. No bonus points either. Doku, like I mentioned, did come on, looked quite lively, but it was too late in the game for him to change anything. Erling Haaland, so not my captain this week, but he's sort of disappointed again. So no attacking returns in this one. He did have a few big chances right at the end. Got a shot on target. He hit the post, but he did just come away with the 4 points. So if you did captain him, you'll be hoping for quite a bit more in midweek against Sporting. Phil Foden had a big chance created point and 3 bonus points. But again, just the 6 points for him in total for the game, which is not bad considering he didn't get an attack in return. But you probably would have expected a bit more again in this fixture. De Bruyne, Savinho, both didn't come on despite needing a goal. So although they were put on the bench, Pep reluctant to bring them on. So maybe he's going to be taking it easy on them with this injury doubt. And the squad's quite thin at the moment anyway. So maybe he's saving them for a little bit later. Liverpool 2, Brighton 1. And it was a bit of a scary moment for Liverpool as well. Having City losing, Arsenal losing earlier in the day. It looked like we were going to have all 3 of the top sides in the Premier League struggling for results. But Liverpool did manage to pull it back. Tsimikas starting ahead of Robertson after he struggled last week against Saka. We did think that this might be the case because Robertson ended up playing in the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. And you had Darwin Núñez back up top again. Obviously, no Jota until after the international break. And then Szoboszlai came back into the squad, and then Gakpo got the nod ahead of Luis Diaz, who was on the bench. There's a big chance for Darwin Núñez early in the game, so shot on target for him. Kadioglu was quite interesting. He was playing really advanced, more like a sort of right wing, right midfielder. Came with 8 points, but got a really nice goal himself. And then another chance fell to him later on, but he just couldn't quite put that one away. But yeah, really good performance from him, I thought, from what I saw. You had Danny Welbeck get an assist in it. He's on 9 attacking returns, 6 goals, 3 assists now for the season. You had Konate. He sort of went down during a corner, during a bit of a scruffle. It looked like he sort of slipped, landed on his wrist, and he seemed to have picked up either a wrist or arm injury. He'd sort of put his own arm in a sling made from his T-shirt. So He went off and was replaced by Gomez at the back. So one to watch there, how serious that is. Liverpool were chasing the game, though, 1-0 down. They brought on Diaz, but didn't take off Gakpo. So they had all four attackers on: Gakpo, Darwin, Salah, Diaz. Gakpo put a cross in, a bit like how it fell for Mbuemo last week in that match. Gakpo put a cross in, and it just went the whole way through and into the back of the net. So it looked like it might have touched Darwin Núñez, but the replay showed that it didn't. So Gakpo with the goal, and he admitted after that it was a cross. It's quite refreshing to see, because sometimes they do say they meant it. So Gakpo with another goal. He got good returns last week as well. Virgil van Dijk came away with an assist for that one as well. So he literally, just from around the halfway line, passed the ball into Gakpo, who put the cross in. But that counts as a Virgil van Dijk assist. So that's the third attacking return now for Virgil van Dijk. 5 points in this game. Trent somehow came away with 8 points. So he had a bonus point, 9 tackles, and a big chance created in this game. So quite a big haul, considering that if Trent gets a haul, you'd normally think that it would be bonus points, goal, or assist. But no, 9 tackles, probably because he was up against Matoma, who loves dribbling. So there was quite a lot of attempts there to try and win the ball back. He had Salah with the match-winning goal. Who else? So 2 goals in 2 minutes for Liverpool to get the game back. I thought Estupinian done really, really well defending against him for most of the game. But right at the end, it looked like he was maybe flagging a little bit. And Salah just looked brilliant again. So 9th goal of the season. 7 assists to go with that as well for him. So, yeah, only 4 points behind Haaland now. 43% of the top 1K captain Salah this week, including myself. So was pleased to see that goal go in, even though it didn't really help out my team, Arsenal, there. Go on then, let's speak about my team. So a 1-0 defeat at the hands of Newcastle, and just did not show up in the game. And Newcastle really, really good. No, credit to them as well. Squad news: Ben White was on the bench, so Thomas Partey was starting at right back. Saliba Gabriel was the usual centre-back pairing, and then Jurrien Timber was at left back. There was an early goal for Newcastle, so pretty much a perfect cross from Anthony Gordon, who was playing on the right wing this time. So normally cutting and shooting, but this time he was able to put in some really, really good crosses from the right-hand side, straight on Isak's head to head home. And that's 3 consecutive goals now for Isak. 10 points in this one. 4 goals, 2 assists for the season. Anthony Gordon, 7 points. Just the 3 attacking returns for him this season, which surprised me a little bit. Usually thought he would get more than that. So 2 goals, 1 assist for him. He had Bruno Guimaraes doing his usual 3 bonus points. He's on 19 bonus now for the season. Just ticks along so well for bonus points. Arsenal just weren't getting any joy down either side. So Martinelli and Saka both kept pretty quiet by Livramento and Hall. Hall getting the better of Saka quite a few occasions. And the Martinelli Livramento battle was pretty good as well. I thought Martinelli had a decent enough half, but every time it sort of went for a sort of 50-50 battle, Livramento just came out with a ball. So yeah, good performances from both fullbacks. Saka 5 points. He was on 7 points, which a lot of us were questioning, how has he come away with 7 points in this game? Because he didn't have a particularly good game. But overnight, he lost 2 bonus points. Arsenal subbed Nwaneri and Zinchenko on to sort of help the creative side of things, because they just couldn't seem to play through the lines. It felt like we had too many similar players in sort of Marino, Rice, and Partey at right back was inverting. Timber likes to invert. So the midfield was sort of just packed with bodies, but no one was really sort of playing those killer passes. So Nwaneri and Zinchenko were trying to make it happen, but it just wasn't happening in the midfield. So Declan Rice, he was probably the one that looked like he might be able to make something happen. But in terms of corners, they weren't as good as usual. Pretty poor deliveries. And then Saka did put a really nice cross through to Declan Rice right at the end on his head, and he just completely fluffed it, basically. So missed a big chance created by Saka. But yeah, overall, really, really good performance from Newcastle. Can't take anything away from them. Limited Arsenal to nothing in this game. Hall was probably the standout performer for Newcastle, so 10 points for him, bonus points and 4 tackles. United versus Chelsea. So lineups in this one were pretty much as expected, I think. So Bruno Fernandes got the only goal for Manchester United. 14 points he came away with, 1 bonus, 4 tackles and 2 big chances created. I feel like he could have had quite a few assists over the past couple of games if people could just finish at United. He's created quite a lot for them, but they just can't seem to put them away. You had Mazraoui with a huge haul, so 10 points for him, 12 ppm, got him 5 bonus. And then I mentioned last week that he was the second highest tackler in the game. He's got another 6 tackles in this match. Dalot, he was someone that's benefited from overnight points. So he did have just the 1 tackle point and 2 points. Got booked in this game, but it looks like he gained a tackle overnight. So he's gone up to 3 points instead of 2. I thought Lisandro Martinez probably fortunate to stay on the pitch after a pretty high tackle on Palmer. I do quite like the way he plays, to be fair. He has got a lot of bite about him. Does leave a foot in now and again, but there's been a couple times this season already that he's been probably lucky to stay on the pitch. Rashford, big chance missed, rather quiet in this game. Garnacho, someone that I bought in this week, I thought he looked a bit off it as well. 4 points. He did have 2 shots on target, but with both of them, I think you expected him to do a lot better with the shot. Pretty poor decision making, I thought. Rasmus Højlund, so not his best game. I think he came out second best on quite a few challenges with the Chelsea centre-backs who were dealing with him fairly well, but he got brought down by Sanchez in the box for the Man United penalty that obviously Bruno scored. Palmer. So I've put down Palmer 6 points, pretty generous. I didn't think he was that involved in the game at all. I think he was on 9 ppm when I wrote these notes up last night. He's come with 11 ppm, so he was 1 player performance mark off of hitting maximum bonus, which is crazy, really. Pretty much like the Saka scenario, where I think Saka and Palmer this week really, really marked out of the game, just couldn't quite get involved. But again, the stats show differently to what you see. Really close to not come away with max bonus. A few dribbles, a few crosses, but 4 fouls in the game. Probably quite a lot of them from Martinez. Neto looked fairly dangerous. Someone that was brought in by a few people as a differential. 5 points, 6 player performance marks. Looked quite dangerous up against Dalot, was causing him problems in the first half. And then Caicedo, someone that I don't think many people would have. 11 points, bonus point, 3 tackles, and obviously the goal from outside the box. I think it was outside the box or just inside. Quite a nice volley there from him from the corner. Not much involvement for Jackson or Madueke, though, in this game. Spurs versus Aston Villa finished 4-1 to Spurs. Quite a shock result, actually. I saw there being goals, but I fancied Aston Villa for this one. Romero started. Van der Ven was missing, replaced by Dragusin after picking up that injury in the City game. Maddison started on the bench, which I was relieved by, having transferred him out. But obviously, we'll come on to him in a minute. Made an impact off the bench. Kulusevski, Bentancur, and Sarr started in midfield. Not many lineup decisions in the Villa game that surprised me, to be honest. Onana hit the post from a cross early on, so deep ball in from Digne, and he's been a real threat in the air, actually, Onana. I think he already scored 1 from a corner this season. I know last game he had a header that was really quite close, already scored quite a few goals, but unlucky on this one. Morgan Rogers scored a scrappy goal from a corner, so Digne puts the ball in. It looked like it caught Porro on the way through, and then keeper just flapped at it. Spurs are so poor at defending corners. Morgan Rogers there, though, to tap it in. So a lot of people would have been disappointed by that one. He was the second most transferred out in the top 1K this week. I sort of advised against it a couple times because it happened to me. I took Rogers out, I think, when his price was falling, and he went on to score 18 points, and he's done it this week. So a lot of people took him out after his quiet week, and then he's come and scored 10 points in this game. I think with these enablers, you've just got to sort of bear with them a little bit. The same with Kulusevski as well, who hauled last week. And that was his 3rd goal of the season, though. Morgan Rogers. Brennan Johnson, he grabbed the goal. He was on the end of a Son cross, and Solanke was actually right behind him waiting to finish it. But Brennan Johnson got in there first. That's his 7th goal of the season. But Solanke did come on to make an impact a little bit later on in the game. So Son, 7 points. He did get an early sub, though, before 60 minutes, and he really didn't look happy about it. Probably precautionary because he seemed like he was doing okay. Kulu got an assist, though, for a long overdue Solanke goal. So we'd said he hadn't He had a shot on target in, I think it was 6 games potentially. But really did make an impact on this one. So a really cheeky chipped goal from that assist from Kulusevski, which was Kulusevski's 6th assist of the season. He came in with 7 points. And then Richarlison set up a tap-in for Solanke's 2nd goal of the game. So really, really strong performance from Solanke. But to top it all off, he was fouled as well and won a free kick, which Maddison, who subbed on in the 82nd minute, took quickly, caught Martinez a bit stationary. Yeah, put it away. Really nice finish. But Solanke gets the assist for that. So 21-point haul from Solanke, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 shots on target. And then Maddison, even though he just came off the bench, got 8 points. Not much from Villa. So 0 points from Martinez in goal, who's quite popular. So conceding 4 obviously wasn't going to end well. I had put down at Consa 3 points, hit 3 bonus points, but he's lost the PPM overnight, so he's dropped down to 1 point for this game. And then Matty Cash, 4 points, 5 tackles, but looks like he potentially picked up an injury in this game, off in the 60th minute. Ownership is quite a bit less in some of these matches, so I'll speed through them a bit quicker. So Nottingham Forest 3, West Ham 0. So Gibbs White back in for Forest, and Chris Wood was fit to start. West Ham went to a back 5, which I think was quite a strange decision, especially against Nottingham Forest. But I think that maybe they were trying to match him up or something. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But yeah, the fans are losing a bit of patience now of Lopetegui. We had another Chris Wood goal. So I think that's his 8th for the season now, Chris Wood. Really in some really, really good form. And maybe we start to consider some of these players. Now European football is not far from ending. We've got a single Premier League fixture for everyone this week. And we have got a Premier League double upcoming. Alvarez wrecked it though for West Ham. So 2 silly yellow cards, cost them massively. Obviously getting the red card. He had a goal from Hudson-Odoi. Lots of bodies in the way. His usual sort of cutting in, putting it in the far post, but really hard for Fabianski to see with so many bodies in the way. I think come from possibly a short corner. Aina, goal from outside of the box, 3-0. And check out his post-match interview, sipping on a Ribena, something I've never seen in a post-match interview. Huge 17 points for him. Bonus, shot on target, 4 tackles. And then my boy, Sells, with a clean sheet, his 4th of the season, but no attacking returns for Sells in this one. 2.8 million now, though. So likely going to rise 0.3 again. So 3.1 million going to have Sells at. And I think I bought him for 2 million. And if Vicario, for example, goes down, I don't think there's going to be much separating them in terms of money at all. So could be some nice upgrades for Sells later on. Southampton versus Everton. So McNeil was back in the starting lineup in this one. There was a bit of a dirty tackle from Tarkowski, which I thought he was probably quite fortunate to come away with just a yellow. You had Keane, almost got in the end of a cross, and he's been decent for attack and return so far this season. Some good Ramsdale saves, some good Ramsdale housery, but I just don't know if it hits quite the same when you're in a struggling Southampton side. You had Beto hit the crossbar from a Tarkowski cross. And then Tarkowski almost got an assist. He put a really good long ball over the top for Beto to get the equaliser, but it was ruled out for offside. So the sort of centre-backs and defenders for Everton really are sort of quite dangerous for some attacking returns at the moment. But then Adam Armstrong got the late winner for a Sugawara assist. So Southampton with a rare win. Wolves versus Palace. So no Eze for Palace after picking up an injury in the Carabao Cup last week. You had Sarabia back starting for Wolves. Couldn't you almost set him up quite early in the game, but it was saved. Chalobah got a goal from a set piece. Wolves fans chanting you don't know what you're doing to Gary O'Neill quite early on. Cunha had set up a Strand Larson goal, so an assist, 8 points for him, but no bonus. He's usually quite good for getting bonus points. 3 big chances created, though, and a shot on target. He did look pretty dangerous. You had a João Gomez goal, 13 points, 3 bonus. Guedes assist off the bench. But then there was a Gahey goal with a Munoz flick on from a corner. So back-to-back assists now for Munoz at the back. Usually pretty good for tackle points, but only 2 tackles for Munoz in this game. And Aït-Nouri, if you brought him in, he was on 4 yellow cards, but he survived getting his 5th in this one. So no suspension yet for Aït-Nouri. And then Ipswich-Leicester. So amazing volley from Leif Davis, getting the first goal for Ipswich. He's only 2.5 million. He's got 3 attacking returns so far this season. So 1 goal, 2 assists. Had loads of attacking returns in the Championship last season. 13 points, bonus point, 4 tackles, and a big chance created. Taking all the set pieces, almost had an assist himself. Calvin Phillips sent off. I just don't know where to start with him. He's having a really bad few seasons, Calvin Phillips. And then a stoppage time equaliser from Jordan Ayew. So coming off the bench, getting 9 points in this game. Vardy got the assist for that one. So still chipping in with attacking returns, Jamie Vardy. Quick team update from me for game week 10. So I took Maddison and Palmer out this week, replaced them with Garnacho and Saka. Currently 5 points down on those moves. Maddison, obviously, I was quite relieved to see that he was starting on the bench. I felt quite justified taking him out, but obviously in his 10-minute cameo, he's come on and scored a free kick. So he's 4 points up on Garnacho, but I still expect Garnacho to probably play in midweek, so I think he could make up that 4 points. And then Palmer, 6 points versus Saka's 5 points. Saka will have Inter Milan while Palmer doesn't have a game. So I'm pretty confident that I can still come out on top with these transfers. Sales in goal, I'm on 83 points for the game week, 1,238 points overall. And that's taking me up to 37th on the leaderboard. I think it was like about 40 before I went to bed. And then Dallo's got that extra point overnight to bump me up a couple more places. So yeah, 37th, happy with that. Sales, clean sheet, 7 points. Rico Lewis, 1 point. Obviously starting on the bench and coming on, but got another game to go. Vardiol, it's just been brilliant. So 10 points from him. Dallo, probably, I didn't expect a clean sheet against Chelsea, but 3 points, we'll take it. Another game still to come. 5 points from Saka. I must say I expected more from him in this Newcastle game. Inter Milan away is going to be a tough one as well, but someone I want in my team long term. Bruno Fernandes, he's been fantastic since I brought him in. So obviously 18 points against Leicester last week. He got the 5 points against West Ham, which I feel like should have been more last week. And then he's hit 14 points in this one as well. So really pleased with that transfer in for Bruno Fernandes. Garnacho, I mentioned 4 points, but he still had a fair few shots on target. They will go in eventually. So I'm fairly relaxed about that one. Phil Foden, 6 points. Again, maybe expecting an attacking return, but we've still got another game to go. And 9 ppm, 3 bonuses, okay. And Kulusevski, just brilliant, man. He's had two assists against Man City last week, an assist against Aston Villa again. So just doing really, really well for the price. Vice-captain Haaland, this captain situation seems to have gone my way so far. So 4 points for Haaland. He's my vice. And then Salah with 22 points with the armband on. So 11 points against Brighton for those 2 shots on target, bonus and a goal. But yeah, pretty much, I think I've got the whole squad that I'm expecting to at least feature in midweek. Apart from Sells, he's my only player that's not playing twice a week in goal. But he's doing fantastic for the price as well. So really happy with how the week's gone so far. I'll have my top players to target coming out later in the week. And this evening, we are live on the Dream Team Tonic podcast with our YouTube members, with our Patreon members. And then that'll be out for everyone else a bit later in the week. If you do want to join us live or get early access to the podcast, head over to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. There's a link in the description for our channel memberships and our Patreon membership. So yeah, do check that one out. And I'll see you on our top players to target video